and welcome to
Gank That Drank,
a supernatural drinking game podcast. This is Season 1, Episode 4, Hook and Bugs.
Of course, in every episode of Gank That Drank, we assign ourselves each 2 drinking game rules, and we play along with 2 episodes of the resplendent and unstoppable television show Supernatural.
I feel like I always throw you off with the adjectives that
You definitely do, because I never read that part beforehand. I kind of skim that, so it's always a surprise, and I like it that way.
Yeah. After we watch and play, we will discuss both episodes while most definitely tipsy, and we will evaluate the rules we played in our quest to curate for you, gentle listener, the perfect Supernatural Season 1 drinking game.
I am Nate McWhorter.
And I am Krissy Lenz. And tonight we're watching Hookman, first aired October 25th, 2005, and Bugs, my least favorite Supernatural episode ever, which first aired November 8th, 2005.
Spoiler alert, we are going to be discussing the episodes in their entirety, and certainly in no fit state to avoid spoilers, so be prepared to hear all of the grisly details of something you have had more than 12 years to watch.
Alright, it's time to choose the rules! Yes. Okay, what rules are you going to be playing tonight, Nate?
Alright, my first rule, I do not know who contributed this one. This might be one of our newer ones, but it says, Sam and Dean dig. So I'm assuming every time they dig, just take a drink?
Take a drink.
Probably like a big drink?
A big drink. Yeah. Like if we were doing shots, if you're doing shots, I think that would be a shot.
Okay.
But we're not doing shots, so it'd be a drink.
Yeah, just like a healthy swallow.
Glug.
What is your first rule?
My first rule is X-Files nod. Finish your drink. I feel like you made that one up.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like finish your drink is gonna, I can already tell you that's not gonna happen.
Oh. It's one of those might happen in an episode, might not kind of rules. So it's basically like if it occurs, go ahead and it's worth the big drink, and if not, then you skated by. That might be one of the ones you play like episode to episode, not like for a single episode. My second one is one that I believe I wrote as well, and it says, man tears, finish drink.
Oh my goodness.
If any man tears occur, then I will be finishing my drink.
Oh my god.
And what is your second rule?
Second rule, Sammy shamed for going to Stanford. So is that you made that one?
I believe I did. We had 3 that I made drawn.
I know, that always happens. Okay, so basically anytime Dean mentions him
they
going
mention
to
him going to Stanford, or there's always kind of like, especially early on, a lot of guilt and stuff thrown around for abandoning the family.
Yeah. Okay, and that's just a drink?
Yep, just a drink.
Okay. Oh, and we're both still going to be playing the Sammy rule and the Kripke Easter egg rule.
Yes, and did we want to draw like a third rule for us both to play by?
Yeah.
All right, the third rule that we would both be playing by is the trunk. The boys open the trunk, one drink.
Okay.
That'll be solid for both of us
for sure.
to abide by.
So tonight, we actually you have come up with a signature cocktail.
Yes.
So what are we drinking tonight?
Well, tonight it is what, for our purposes, we are going to call a Dean and Sammy, which is basically a dark and stormy. And I suggest that adding a little bit of lime and a little bit of mint to your dark and stormies, that always adds a nice little flavor to it. So that's kind of the drink I came up with for our episode tonight.
Okay, awesome. And I wanted to mention, too, a fun fact that I learned, and you may already know this, and our gentle listeners may already know this, but it ties in nicely with our X-Files drinking game rule, which is that today I learned that perhaps one of the reasons for all of the similarities is that one of the most significant director of Supernatural episodes was also one of the most prolific director of X-Files episodes. Kim Mathers directed a lot of episodes of both shows.
There we go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
so that's a fun fact for you.
Makes a lot of sense, and of course I love X-Files.
Yep. So. All right, so we're going to go watch Hookman and Bugs, and we're going to see you on the other side. And we're back.
Yeah. We are back.
All right, so we're starting with Hookman. I'll summarize Hookman. So basically, they just dive real hard into urban legend territory. And it starts out with the young lady being encouraged by her college roomie to tart it up, I guess, and go on a date with a cool
Frat bro.
frat bro, yes. And he slips a finger under the strap of her sexy gown and, of course, immediately gets murdered by a ghost with a hook and hung upside down so that his fingers are like scraping the roof of the car. As the legend goes, Sam and Dean roll up. But first we see them hanging out at a coffee shop, like an outdoor like cafe.
Chilling. Yeah. They're...
And I like the idea of thinking of Sam and Dean, like they're sitting in their cheesy motel and they're like, you know what, I need some air. I saw a cute little cafe. Can we just check it out?
Yeah, and they're just,
that would be Sam. Sam would be like, I saw a cute little cafe. How is he using the internet though? If it's 2005, how is he using the internet at an outdoor cafe? Did we have Wi-Fi? I don't
Maybe
even know.
Maybe he plugged into the Ethernet at the hotel and downloaded his files that he needed and then took it to the internet, or maybe non-internet cafe.
It wasn't an internet cafe.
Even, this is like, they're always in like small Midwestern towns, so in 2005, like maybe now there would be internet cafes in those small towns. There'd be Wi-Fi, but not in 2005.
Help us out, people. Was there Wi-Fi at outdoor cafes in 2005?
If you live near Acrony, Iowa, please let us know if that's even a real place.
Yeah. So Sam and Dean roll up into town. The young lady in question, Lori, is a preacher's daughter. And then she comes home and finds and doesn't turn on the light and then goes to bed and wakes up the next morning and her roommate has been gutted. And there's the sign that says, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?"
So, would it be better to find your roommate gutted during the night when you first get home, or like sleep next morning to her and then wake up and probably better the night before?
Like with the knowledge that you've been sleeping next to your dead best friend.
At least you got a night's sleep.
I guess.
Because, I mean, you got to keep in mind, this is just after her first date had been murdered. Mm-hmm. She had an argument with her father about something, about probably being in college or something like that, then decides that she's going to be at the sorority house for another night. And her roomie gets killed. Murdered.
I feel like they're mixing up the legend, though. Like, I don't remember that part of the Hookman legend. Like, I remember that being that, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?" I don't remember that as being part of the Hookman. I remember that as just being, like, another scary stories to tell in the dark type thing. So then Sam and Dean, particularly Sam, gets close to the girl, and they figure out that there's all these preacher-related deaths, and they link it back to someone in the 1800s by looking through 2 file boxes.
Yes.
Of all the crimes.
A woman drops 2 moderately sized file boxes, and says, "This is all the arrest records dating back to 1851.
What?
So...
And they're all in pretty good shape.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we really...
Excellent mint condition.
We go through it once a year and just keep them nice. We find out about the Hookman. They salt and burn the bones.
Did they ever really say why he was on, like, murderous rampage?
Yeah, he was killing people who were immoral. So it's all a big slut-shamey mess.
He was, when he was
the
alive.
Hookman, was killing people who was immoral, and then his spirit was...
Right.
And then he was sort of, like, coming back as a spirit and haunting, like, preachers and killing other people who were immoral.
Oh, so he's just all about morality and killing... Okay, but he seems to focus on...
He's a big fan of all the immoral... He thinks everything immoral needs to be punished except murder, which is cool.
Right, yeah. It's cool with him stabbing people with a hook. Mm-hmm. That's fine. But then the motivation for killing... Like, why does he just follow this preacher's daughter? They say it latches onto her. I think they...
Mm-hmm. Well, in the end, it's because she has the necklace.
That's right. Yeah. So it just follows whoever had the necklace.
Yeah. So
for 200 years.
Dean salts and burns the bones, which I think this is the first time we see them salt and burn the bones. I believe so. Or maybe they do in Bloody Mary. I don't know. And then we learn a lot in Hookman about rock salt,
Yes.
They sort of introduce the concept of the rock salt in the shotgun shells, salting and burning the bones. They also mention the smell of ozone or what have you.
Yeah, the smell of ozone, which I guess is the first time I ever heard them say that or like paid attention to them saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know ozone was a. I always get sulfur.
Yeah.
I always hear sulfur, but I never heard ozone.
Ozone
before.
was weird. Sammy gets close to the young woman, and they smooch a little bit.
As total strangers.
Yep. Hookman, we're going to talk about that. Hookman comes for her dad, who's having an affair, and then Hookman comes for her after she, like, feels guilty for causing all this trouble. They're melting all the silver because the hook has been melted down, and then come to realize it's her necklace. So they, at the very last second, burn the necklace, and Hookman disappears.
Which I will say, when Sammy is outside and he's making out with her, and they're talking, and he knows that Dean is up in the church melting silver,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't notice the necklace around her, and it's pretty obviously silver, and isn't like, hey, by the way, where'd you get that?
Where'd you get that?
He doesn't notice it. Like, you'd think, if he's a hunter, he's a fairly perceptive person. We don't see that.
I guess
I
not.
don't know.
But I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in this episode that's just like, what? So, like, this young lady is a preacher's daughter. And especially, like, her father is very moral and things need to be right and proper and religious and pure. You'd think that she would be, like, on stranger danger high alert. But, like, she's smooching Sammy, and she just met him. And she's not at all weirded out that, like, he has appeared at all of the scenes of the murder. The police aren't also, like, equally unfazed that these two very handsome men keep showing up at all the murder scenes.
The police in this episode are not great at all.
Mm-mm.
I know it ends up being not the case, but two murdered bodies and the same girl is at both scenes, and they were gruesomely murdered. It's not like one had a heart attack, and then her friend gets murdered. No. She is at the scene of two gruesome bloody murders, and they're like, okay, you can just go with your father. We'll question you later.
Yeah. If she was a dude, she would be behind bars right now.
Yeah, so I guess using the female privilege,
I guess.
whatever that means.
I don't know, but also the police are not like, who do you point the finger at first? The two fucking drifters who just rolled into town and have been at every crime scene.
And are super weird, just questioning everything. Like, we're new students, and like the frat bros don't even check on them.
Nope.
To see if they actually are, because they say, we're your fraternity brothers from Ohio. They don't ever be like, hey, we called over to Ohio.
They never heard of you.
They don't know who you are.
Also, you're way too old. Yeah, there's a lot of really bad choices, but even for her, like, she, everybody just loves Sammy's puppy dog eyes or whatever, but she shouldn't be smooching on a dude that she's only known for 2 days, who is literally stalking her and sitting outside her house with a gun.
And she comes down so casually. Hey, I saw you
Saw you
out
from
here.
the window.
I was upstairs and I saw you.
Notice you've been following me for a couple of days while my friends and family are getting murdered and attacked.
You have anything to do with that?
You want to smooch? I don't get it.
But she establishes that she's kind of wanting to get out of the goody good girl kind of thing in the very first scene when all her friend has to do is hand her one outfit for her to be like, oh, you're right, I am dressing far too conservatively. Let me put on this much more scantily fitting outfit and go on this date. It's like peer pressured, didn't even really think about it. She just went ahead and did it. So she's trying to say yes to immorality.
She's saying yes to the dress.
Yes.
Yeah, but, like, she even jokes to Sammy when she comes down, like, I saw you from upstairs, don't worry, I already called the cops. And they laugh, and it's like, no, you should call the cops.
Always call the cops if a weird stranger who you know for
sitting
2 days
outside
is
your
stalking
door.
you.
Call the cops. And also your friends are being murdered. You should call the cops.
Yeah.
I also, like, I really enjoyed having just a momentary, like, imagining of this preacher who lost his hand in some kind of accident, going and having that hook. This scary, sharp, deadly.
It's not like the Captain
like,
Hook where it's like,
no.
where it's like, oh, it just fit on the end of his nub, and he could, swipe it about.
No, it's gigantic. It's
Yeah.
serrated. It's sharp as hell. So I like just imagine him like going to, whoever would create those things in the 1800s and being like, "Hello, I've recently lost my hand and I would like a hook. I would like I've drawn a few things. I've drawn up a few things. I have some sketches. I would like a really scary, like really irresponsible, dangerous hook."
See, this is where now I want to see the sequel to this episode, where they're like, oh, the prototype that he first made survived.
Oh yeah.
And there's like the first draft, the rough draft of the hook is still counts.
Yeah. Well, I'm picturing the blacksmith being like, "Oh, I've made hooks for people before. Yeah, yeah. Like, but you want reasonable, you want functional. No. I want big, scary, serrated, oversized, murdery."
I want it to be, if there's a fly on me, I'm dead. That's the kind of hook I want.
Well, I just made a gold hand for a guy recently. It was heavy, but he seems happy with it. He's doing fine.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Learn to fight left-handed.
I'd like the murder hook, please.
Yeah. So that's and it was interesting. I enjoyed it. So would you say this episode is skippable?
No. I think you need to watch Hookman.
I'd agree. It's a good one.
You learn about the rock salt. They really sort of hold your hand and walk you through a lot of their tools of their trade.
Yeah.
Which I always think is great, because in later episodes we just take all that for granted. I also really enjoyed imagining, because I spent a lot of time in libraries in this episode, and I would just like to see a little cutscene of them like applying for the library card.
What is the
and maybe having to wait 24 hours.
What is the name on that library card? Oh, that would be Hamill and Ford. The names they use all the time. Hamill and Ford. Mm-hmm. They get some pop culture.
But I do think
everywhere.
we should make a drinking game rule about whenever the police are terrible.
Oh, just bad.
Yeah.
Just bad police.
I also had an idea that someone should make a supernatural escape room.
Yes, I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
You have to make different choices, and everyone's in on it together, and if you
escape the room,
lose, you get murdered by hooks or something.
Bugs.
Well, real quick before we get on to bugs, how do you feel about Hookman as a bad guy, as a villain?
I didn't think he's that scary. Like, he never talks. He just sort of appears. I didn't think he was that scary.
Now, is the original...
I thought Bloody Mary was scarier.
Yeah, well, because you summon Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
I guess the Hookman, you never know when you just
you
gotta,
summon with your shame.
Yeah, you just hope that you're being moral. Just hope that you're moral.
Yeah. And that you never feel bad about anything.
Yeah.
He's a slut-shamey ghost.
Yeah, he did not like...
Beware slut-shamey ghosts.
But I guess he only also attacked people who were possessing his silver and or part of the clergy?
Well, no. Like, she was... I guess the necklace had been handed down, and so whoever had it had the power to summon... Because as soon as she got anywhere with her dad, it killed her dad. It attacked her dad.
But the history of
and then she felt bad about herself. It attacked her.
Right, but the history of this particular Hookman was that it was attacking. They kept saying they kept attacking all these reverends people. So it seemed like it only went after people.
No. It was attacking the immoral people, and the reverends were getting arrested.
Oh, that's right. It was framing the reverends.
And I don't think it was intentionally framing them. Like, they were just getting busted for the crimes because who else could have done it?
That's where I was getting confused, because I thought he had was against the reverends.
No.
I thought he was
he was attacking people that the
Oh.
reverends deemed immoral.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which then happened to be the reverend in the end.
In the end,
Because
yeah.
he was cheating on it, right?
Cheating on God? I don't know.
Cheating on God? How does he have a daughter?
No, because he's not... The Catholic priests are the only ones who aren't allowed to
But
get
she
busy.
was upset that he was with a married woman?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming...
Because she was married.
Right, but we never met the mom in this scenario.
No, she's like a Disney mom. She just never existed.
It's just Phantom Mom.
Yeah. So I say it's a must watch.
Yeah, I'd say watch it. I'd
Okay.
say it's a good one to watch.
Do you have any Hookman lessons learned?
Yes, I have a couple Hookman lessons learned. I can't really choose one. My first one, don't ever take a first date under a bridge, especially a creepy bridge. Just don't ever do that. And this
At the beginning of the date. This
very
was not
beginning-
after
yeah.
the party. This was before the party.
It was not a thanks for the great time at the party. Do you want to go to Make Out Bridge and make out? It was, hey, instead of going to the party, I've decided to skip right to this part
Right to the date rape.
on the first date. And the hook man stops the date rape. He does a good job.
Yeah.
He's a good hook man.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
And then another one of mine is always mark an unmarked grave.
Yeah,
They keep
say
talking
his
about
grave is unmarked, but it quite literally has his identifying symbol, which he carves into the wall. That's not unmarked. Like, fucking look up what unmarked means.
Yeah, they know. I mean, maybe in the 1800s they're like, this is the artist formerly known as Hookman.
We can't just put nothing on it, guys.
We just put a symbol that was also on his hook.
I've got to keep our stonecutters in business.
Yeah, and then my third lesson learned is always watch the cute girl's house. Because that was something that Dean says, because he ends up digging out the grave.
Yeah. I would say my Hookman lesson learned would just be like, be sex positive.
Yeah.
And no Hookman will kill you. Yeah. It's okay. We all have urges.
Just relax and just chillax. That's the lesson.
Don't be ashamed.
The Hookman gets too caught up in other people's business.
You're human, yeah. He's really a nosy neighbor.
He's a bad gossiper.
Yeah.
He's down at the beauty salon all the time.
He's
got long hair. He looks like the Undertaker a little bit.
I don't know what that is.
Wrestling, the Undertaker.
No, I don't know what that is.
All right. So let's move on to bugs. I will go ahead and summarize bugs.
Fucking hate this episode.
So you hate this episode.
And it is literally a copy of an X-Files.
I think it mashes a couple X-Files episodes together, actually.
I don't know.
Because there is... So, okay, we'll start out... It starts with this construction company, and they... And the head guy, foreman, whatever, gets caught underneath a tree and killed by a bunch of bugs, which is literally out of an X-Files episode.
You're thinking of the one where they get caught up on the mountain and they get cocooned by the bugs. Darkness Falls?
No, I'm thinking of the one with the bug researcher out in
ice,
the middle of nowhere,
and it's a worm.
There's a lot of bug episodes of X-Files because they have the whole bee theme too in X-Files. Yeah, the whole
bees are a thing.
The bees the whole time. But I think there's an episode where he goes out and it's a really campy episode where Scully doesn't believe anything he's doing, and she thinks he's full of it. So he goes out by himself, and then he ends up calling her, and he's like this because it's like the sexy bug lady that Mulder's like falling in love with. But that's a different episode than the one where the construction worker gets taken underground
and falls down. But
falls
I'm pretty sure there's also an X-Files episode where there's like Native Americans walking around killing people.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so
there's several of those episodes.
Help us out, internet.
There's 9 seasons of that show. They definitely reused some ideas.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, help us out with that. This episode had a lot of homages to X-Files, and as we pointed out, had a director in common.
Mm-hmm. Kim Mathers.
So
Manners. Mathers?
I think it was Manners.
So like in one of the reboot episodes recently, like Mulder is sitting drinking beer and his back is he's leaning on a grave, and it's Kim Manners' grave. It's like an homage, yeah.
So anyway, Bug starts out. You have that guy gets eaten by the tree, and the beetles go and explode his brain.
It's so gross.
We then cut to Sam and Dean come to town. They pretend to be looking for a house because this is the new development in Oasis Plains, Oklahoma. Which some of the names they make up for some of these towns is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And also lazy.
Because you can't be an oasis and also be a plains.
Although, judging by the forest we see in this episode, it must have been an oasis because it's a forest that would not match the actual landscape of Oklahoma.
Well, I wouldn't know, Nate.
Too many deciduous trees. Too many types of trees that I don't think are native to Oklahoma. Anyway. Looking way too much into the fact they film it in Canada.
Madagascar hissing cockroaches are not like what lives under the ground.
True. So the boys come to town. They realize this development, something weird is going on because this is now the third death in the last week around this development. The head of the development, his son, who they meet at a party or at an open house barbecue,
is a creepy bug kid.
Who, of course, in all these episodes, the kids are always like the key to everything. So
creepy kid.
We get that. We get the bug kid, and then it turns out that this development is being built on top of not an Indian burial ground, but where an Indian settlement used to be.
An Indian curse.
Yes, an Indian curse. It's
Native American.
Sorry,
come on,
Native American.
Come on. A Native American
Apologies.
curse.
I get so used to the poltergeist nomenclature on this subject. So we do have a little bit of poltergeist in here, obviously, as well. So we have the Native American burial ground, and they burn the bones that they find.
No, they take
don't.
them to the professor,
That's right,
and the professor leads them to the wise old Native American, who tells them that it's a 6-day curse.
Right.
On the solstice.
And they're on the 6th day after the spring. When the sun and moon share the sky for equal or at the same time.
Something like that.
Which is the spring equinox, and then they have 6 days. They're on the 6th day, and everyone's supposed to die. Any white man, it very specifically says any white man trying to set up on this land is going to die. So as the family is, there on the 6th night, we see the giant swarm of bugs and other things start coming in. They try to barricade themselves in the house. Dean has an endless supply of bug spray in a can that seems to never run out, as he uses it to flame away all the bugs.
Mm-hmm. Which don't you think that would negate the fact
spray.
that it is bug spray, because you're essentially vaporizing the bug spray. Right? You're vaporizing the chemicals in order to make them fire. Wouldn't it be better to just spray the bug spray?
I would think so, but maybe he felt like they wouldn't be strong enough. Maybe these are cursed bugs that are immune to human
They're
repellent.
definitely cursed bugs.
Yeah. So eventually, man, I don't even really remember how they defeat all the bugs. And the sun comes up. That's right.
In spite of them, when they
Gandalf
arrive, they say, when they arrive, they're like, it's 12 a.m. We got to make it to sunrise. And then the sun comes up like 12 minutes later.
Yes. Really quickly. I think Gandalf rode down the hill and made it seem like it was the sunrise.
Yeah.
That's what happened. No. So yeah, the sun comes up and all is well. They never really they just basically say, we're closing up shop. We're not going to build here anymore. And he's like, I'm going to make sure no one else builds here.
And now I love my son all of a sudden, even though I was ashamed of him moments before.
Yeah, and he even admits, isn't it weird that I love my son more than money? Is basically his statement at the end. This was the worst financial disaster of my career, and somehow it doesn't matter.
Because I hate my son less now. Ugh. But they also... So, here's my little, flight of fancy during this episode, is I just wanted to picture all the bugs, hanging out in the woods, having their, St. Crispin's Day, they're organizing, and they're like, all right, termites, you're going to chew holes in the roof. Bees, I want you right behind them. I want you ready to go. Flying things, your wave too. All right, crawling things, we're coming up through the drains. I want cockroaches coming up through the yard. I want to see their battle strategy, bugs in the woods with a little Game of Thrones style thing with
yes, they got the map,
and they're moving the pieces around.
Stones and pieces, and
then they're just having their St. Crispin's Day moment. Remember.
Well, when Sam and Dean took the bones, I'm assuming there had to have been more bones laying around, because that's where all of the bugs were gathering at the spot where the bones were. And
that was what they were doing. They were having their strategy meeting
with the ghosts of the Native Americans. Were the bugs wait, no, bring those back. Hey, wait.
That's where we were getting our instructions. Bring those bones back. They were telling us what to do.
The bones are our directive. We don't know, man. And then, well, they didn't follow the bones. They just still cursed the family.
Also, the bugs chewed through the phone lines and the power lines.
They open a flue. The bugs are smart. They had to have had meetings on all of this.
Yeah. Someone's in charge.
Yeah.
There is a Cersei Lannister bug who's
we need to find that bug and elect them now.
Yeah. That's a real leader. It was a real leader. That bug was on top of shit.
We also had a weird shower death in this one, too. In a steam shower.
I hate it so much. What the fuck is a steam
shower?
I
don't know.
It was just a shower that made steam like all showers do.
That's just something you can start putting when you're selling a house now.
Steam shower.
Steam shower. If you turn it hot enough.
Oh my god.
Everything is a steam shower.
All right, so lesson learned for bugs. Encourage your weird, creepy bug kid, because he's going to become a scientist and make you lots of money.
Yeah. Don't stifle education and kids' curiosity.
Yeah.
And also listen to them.
Yeah. Be cool to your weird science kid.
Yeah. Because you never know when he's going to unleash a tarantula at your party.
Well.
Get rid
Also,
of
like, didn't you think that, like, his bug knowledge was going to somehow help them? Like, he'd be like, well, that's a Madagascar hissing cockroach, and as we all know, they can't stand mustard or something like that.
Quick, load this mustard into the shotgun.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like his knowledge was going to save them.
I feel like they don't utilize side characters well enough early on.
Mm-hmm. So I definitely, you need to skip this.
Oh, skip this completely.
Skip it and let's pretend just as a collective group that it doesn't exist.
It's very boring.
All right, so let's talk about our drinking game rules.
Also kind of boring this evening.
Yeah, like we didn't, and I was surprised really about how it all turned out. So, X-Files nod, finish the drink. I just finished my drink for the whole Bugs episode because it's all a thing. Man tears didn't happen at all.
No man tears in these episodes.
So we're gonna have to carry that one forward.
Yeah. That one's gonna come a little later on when we get more into dad and mom and everything.
Yeah. Sam and Dean dig happened twice.
Yeah, I feel like that's about right. Once an episode.
Yeah.
And we were really liberal with dig on the second one and bugs because we were like, oh, he touched those worms and it made a hole. Counts.
That's a dig. The boys open the trunk happened twice.
Once an episode.
Once an episode. And then the big hit this evening was Sammy gets shamed for going to college. That happened 6 times.
A little surprised. I know I wrote it, but I'm a little surprised it happened that much.
I also sort of was keeping track of some of the other rules we played in the past. So outdated tech happened a bunch in these. Someone died, obviously. That's going to be a tier 1 rule. And illegal shit happened so much.
That one probably is the most.
Including them like breaking into an active crime scene while the cops are in the room.
In each episode.
Stepping on evidence. Stepping in blood spatters.
Yes. And luckily in each one, they I think in both of them they go through like a second story window and manage to find the correct room each time. Like they just knew which room everything was going down in. A lot of happenstance.
They definitely don't seem like they're very good at sneaking. But Sam is so tall that like he barely needs a boost from Dean to like reach a second story window.
Yeah, he just kind of like hopped that on his own.
How did you enjoy your Dean and Sammy?
It was
your
good.
Dark and Stormy.
It was
so nice.
Good. Yeah.
So spicy.
Yes, I like the spice of the dark rum and the ginger beer together. It's nice.
I definitely recommend it when you play the Supernatural drinking game.
Oh yeah.
All right. Is there anything we forgot?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, next up on Gank That Drank, join us again. We'll be watching Home and Asylum. I feel like in my memory those are 2 classics.
Home is, I believe, their homage to Home from
X-Files.
X-Files, which is the scariest.
No, you're thinking of the Benders.
Oh, is that the Benders?
Mm-hmm. Okay. But Asylum is a real classic.
But it looks like we might be getting into more mythos episodes.
Can't wait. And of course, we're going to be playing all new drinking game rules, so be sure to join us.
Do you have a suggestion for a drinking game or a drinking game rule? Maybe a suggested cocktail? Did you play along and want to let us know how it went? Comment on the blog at mostexcellentpod.com or join and comment on our Most Excellent Facebook group. As always, you can find out more on mostexcellentpod.com, and if you are in the Phoenix area, you can find Krissy and myself at the National Comedy Theater. For tickets, go to nctphoenix.com. That's N as in Nate, C as in
Crate.
can't wait for next week, and T as in
Tate.
And thanks for listening. I had a really good time with these episodes.
Yes, do remember when you're ganking that drink, always gank and drank responsibly. And remember, stay sex positive and encourage your weird bug kid.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when you're out there in the world saving people and hunting things, keep the mostexcellentpod.com motto in mind. Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.